Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Rise of Kingdoms episode from your very own Shappy Gaming. Today, we are going to be talking about a very controversial topic, and I am going to try to make a very educated recommendation on this topic. And so, if you disagree, that's okay. If you agree, that's also okay. I'm just making an observation based upon what I see. So the question that I am hoping to answer today is Rise of Kingdoms free-to-play friendly? So in order to answer that question, we have to take a look at what the advantage those that are paying are getting over those that are not. And in order to do that, we'll be going through the variety of different things within Rise of Kingdoms that you can purchase and probably should purchase, and talk about, how much of an advantage those things can really give you. And my hope is that in this video, we're recognizing there are other events to get gems. You can get gems through ARK, you can get gems through Shadow Legion, etc. But bearing in mind that free-to-play getting those gems is just not differentiating them from those that are spending, because the spenders are also getting those. And so the most important thing to keep in mind here is that spenders are getting everything that free-to-play are getting and more. So if that is the very first point that I will make, and hopefully that makes sense. Now, let's talk about some of these advantages for low spending or for big spenders that the free-to-play really aren't getting. The first of which that we're going to be talking about is the Vanquisher bundle. The Vanquisher bundle is a bundle that you get when you combine a legendary blueprint in the Forge, and you get a $5 bundle. Sweet, $5 gets you 4 equipment materials chests. Probably one of the best bundles in the game. And here it is right in front of you. There are 7 equipment bundles that you can easily get from KVK. If you're a free spender, you've grinded out, you've used crystals, you can buy at least one of them every KVK. Maybe more, probably not. So let's say you combine a legendary blueprint. This is a bundle that a spender would choose to buy. It's a $5 bundle. If you buy all 7 of these, and this is not including those that you'll get from Lucerne, we'll cover that. If you buy all 7 of these, then you now have 28 equipment material chests that your normal free-to-play player does not have. So why does this matter? This matters because if a whale or a low spender has these 28 equipment material choice chests, they can then use them to forge legendary equipment much faster. And the more legendary equipment you can forge, the more of an advantage you're going to have in the field. So, that is the first bundle we're going to be talking about today and how it helps. Granted, 28 legendary equipment material choice chests is not going to break the game, but it is a contributor to the larger question of, is it worth it? And so, on to the next one. This bundle is the best bundle in the game, in my humble opinion. Maybe you'll say Vanquisher, maybe you'll say Writer of History. Here is the next question. The Writer of History bundle. This is another $5 bundle, and it will help you immensely in the early game. And so if you're a free-to-play, you will be at a disadvantage earlier on if you're not buying these bundles. And, well, Shappy, how much of a disadvantage are we talking about? Well, there are currently, I believe, 51 legendary commanders in this game, which means if you summon all of them, you can buy this $5 bundle numerous times, 51 times, $255, and that'll give you 510 gold heads. That's nearly enough to max a commander. A little bit of wheel, and then you can max a commander. And this is not including those events that happen when you're in the game for holidays and such, which also do require gems, which we'll talk about how hard those are to come by as a free-to-play player. So, swiftly moving onward to gems. Gems are the lifeblood of Rise of Kingdoms. But if you're a free-to-play, they can be incredibly difficult to come by. You can get them from Kerouac, you can get them from Silk Road, you can get them from Shadow Legion, you can get them from ARK. But in order to really be successful, especially early on in the game, you need to be willing to spend money in order to get gems. So let's talk about the couple ways you can spend money to get gems. The first one, which I personally see as a must-buy, is a 30-day gem supply. The 30-day gem supply is going to get you 21,700 gems, which you can use in Wheel, which you can use in the Egg event, which will help you get more equipment, which will overall make your life easier. Typically, the 30-day gem supply is going to be really useful just in terms of hoarding gems for a wheel for a commander that you like, or, you know, a holiday event's coming along, or More Than Gems is right around the corner. And so you usually want to have a steady trickle. Could you, as a free-to-play, gather 650 gems a day? Probably. But keep in mind, a spender can also gather that many gems a day, should they choose to. And it is going to take a lot of your time sending those marches out constantly to try and find those 20 gem nodes, which are incredibly small. And so, yes, this is not necessarily a game changer, but it will help you as a spender to stay up to date with commanders and overall. The other way you can get gems is by the Growth Fund. The Growth Fund is a $15 bundle, and I'll go over to my alt now to show you guys. The Growth Fund is a $15 bundle that you can buy, which will get you 81,000 gems. The Growth Fund is absolutely a must-buy in Rise of Kingdoms. And if you don't buy the Growth Fund, you are at a very real disadvantage. Shappy, why am I at a real disadvantage? Well, if you don't buy the Growth Fund, then you will somehow have to find enough gems to get yourself to VIP 10 or VIP 12 or VIP 14. And for context, VIP 10 is 150,000 gems, and that gets you 1 gold head a day. Or that's 300 days of playing with 500 VIP points that you get a day. You get 200 from logging in. Let's say you average at about 300 from chests. If you're in a great alliance, you know, then you'll get more. But we'll talk about that. VIP 12 costs 350,000 gems, or 700 days at 500 VIP points per day. You can see where I'm going with this, and that VIP 12 is 2 gold heads a day. VIP 14 is 750,000 gems, or 1,500 days at 500 per day. A free-to-play player will most likely never make it to VIP 14. Most likely. Is it possible? Sure. But we're talking about, is Rise of Kingdoms free-to-play friendly? So you can see where I'm going with this. And to show you guys again, the Growth Fund is down here. And you get rewarded every time you upgrade your City Hall. So upgrading your City Hall is a great way to bring us to our next point. In order to unlock T5 troops, which I would say are essential within this game, you need to upgrade a number of structures within your city to level 25. But you need 32,000 gems for blueprints to upgrade all of those structures. As a free-to-play, remember, you're only getting gems from ARK or Kerouac or any of those events. And so you're going to have to save up for quite a long time just to do that. But that's not where it ends. You also need 80,000 gems worth of books from forts. Can you get books from forts? Sure. Sure. But we're talking about 5,000 books to get to 25 and 3,000 books to get to 24 of your castle. For scale, let me go back to my main here so I can show you exactly how many books you will often get from rallies. So I got a trophy there, cool, but I actually just rallied a fort to show you. I rallied a fort, level 4 fort. I got no books that time, got a gold key, but no books that time. On average, you will get between 2 to 3 books per fort. So that is quite a few forts to try and get 8,000 books, which means you have to spend gems on it. But as a free-to-play, it is very difficult to get to that point of being able to even upgrade your castle to level 25. And then, not only that, but before you can even get to T5, right, you will need to have spent, between the books for the fort and the blueprints, you will need to have spent over 100,000 gems. And if you're not buying the growth fund, that's 100,000 gems that you will have had to save up from everything else. And that's not including spending gems on the wheel or spending gems on other events. So, as a free-to-play, is it really viable? Well, that brings me to the next question. Crystal Tech. In the most recent update, Lilith turned around and made a huge statement around Crystal Tech. They've tried to make it easier for free-to-play or low spenders to get Crystal Tech. Great. I love it. However, they still have now made it so you have to play Season of Conquest, which means that you have to be in a KVK with Crystal Tech. And as a low spender, you can do that. That's fine. But if you are a pure free-to-play and you cannot afford the Crystal Boost bundle of 50%, which is essential, you have to buy that. If you don't want to buy that, you are at a severe disadvantage in KVK. You can disagree with me all you want, you are at a severe disadvantage. Every low spender in the game is going to buy that, which means that you're going to trade poorly in your battles, no matter if you have max commanders or not, which will take much longer to get, because you're not going to be at the VIP levels that you need to be. But you will be at a severe disadvantage. You'll be trading poorly, which means you'll need more resources in order to heal faster. And if you're trading too poorly, then you may get left out of the best rewards in KVK. Or you might not even get to unlock those coins, but to be honest, you're not going to be able to forge those cool weapons anyways. But let's talk about this a little bit. Migration. So we've spoken about migration before. I have a whole video guide on migration. If you haven't checked it out, go for it. I think it's very insightful. However, if you are a whale, migration is not too difficult. But if you're a low spender, it's hard. If you are free to play, I will argue that if you're a T5 free to play player, migration is going to be nearly impossible for you. And the reason for that is that you can buy passports with Alliance credits, as you can see here. They're 600k, they're 100k to restock, but they're 600k. The average player that's T5 will probably need between 30 and 35 passports, which requires a lot of saving up. And if you can't save up, well, guess what? You can come into the Super Value Bundle and come buy New World bundles, which is what a spender can do. So free-to-play can't migrate effectively if they get stuck in a poor kingdom. They're at a severe disadvantage with gems because they have to get their structures upgraded in order to even really function in the game. They're going to be slower to max commanders, and they're going to be slower to build equipment. KVK is going to be tough. What can a free-to-play do? Well, if I were a free-to-play player, I would create a bunch of farms because your main account needs to be gathering gems at all times. So you want to create a bunch of farms that you can then use to gather resources to transfer to your main. Sure. You also want to be in the top alliance. And the reason you want to be in the top alliance, or one of them, is other people who are spending will benefit you. As you see there, you can get books. Well, you need 5,000, but you can get books from these. You can also get VIP points from these. See, there's 50 VIP points right there. So if you scroll through, if you're in a top alliance that's dropping gold chests, it's going to be much easier to grow. You can even get 2,000 VIP points from this. However, if you're not spending money, in Rise of Kingdoms, even a little bit, you are at a severe disadvantage. Because even Lucerne has monumental rewards here. Gold heads, legendary blueprints, which you can then combine and buy the equipment, Vanquisher bundle, which I just showed you guys. If you don't spend the $5 to unlock Lucerne, all you're getting are miscellaneous 15-minute speed ups, no gold heads, a couple gold keys, but that's about it. So, to answer this question, and hopefully I don't irritate anyone, is Rise of Kingdoms in its current form free-to-play friendly? My answer is absolutely not. Rise of Kingdoms is low spender friendly, I think. If you're going to spend under $1,000 in this game, you can do pretty well. I think you can do pretty well. The gap between low spender and whale is much smaller than that of a free-to-play and everyone else. But I think if you're looking for a game to play as a free-to-play, Rise of Kingdoms is not that game. You can spend money on it. The way I rationalize my spending is I'll say a normal video game that I would buy, say I'm buying a game every few months, would be about $60. Sure, I can spend that. But if you are just starting this game, Rise of Kingdoms is not free-to-play friendly. It is not. Especially early on. I mean, if we talk about Minamoto, who now has a relic buff and is somehow relevant again, Minamoto is $200, which, if you're a free-to-play, is not ever going to be achievable for you. And this is not covering Hannibal, although I don't know why you'd want to get Hannibal. We'll cover that in a different video. But early on, Minamoto is one of the best commanders you can have. And it's going to take you forever to max anyone else. So, to answer the question that everyone has been asking, is Rise of Kingdoms free-to-play friendly? Shappy's answer? No. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. I hope that you've enjoyed. Hopefully this has been insightful. I know it can be a little bit sad and crummy, but Lilith built this game to make money. And unfortunately, if you're a free-to-play player, you're not their priority. They're going for those that will spend money. If you still want to play and you're a free-to-play player, you want to be in a top alliance, you want to be sure you're gathering gems constantly, and you can't miss events. You got to be doing Karuak, you got to be doing Silk Road, you got to be doing Shadow Legion. Like if you miss those events, you are really, really in a bad position. I hope you've enjoyed. Be sure to click that subscribe button right here and hit that bell so you don't miss any new episode. We will be doing some rally and garrison testing with Nevsky. I promise you it's coming. Thank you. Shappy out.